Hey, how's it going? I am here today to talk about the difference between a student and a learner. Um, they are basically two sides of the same coin because ultimately they're both in the same, the actual outcome is the same. You're still learning something, you're gaining knowledge, you're expanding your mind, either as a student or a learner. So there definitely is overlap there, but they're also very different. So just let me tell you, because the reason I'm talking about this is because so many of you are quitting jobs or moving on or and complaining about the fact that you're not learning in your position. I've heard this probably dozens, maybe more than dozens of times. Somebody says, I can't stand this job. I'm not learning anymore. I need to keep on going because I'm not learning anymore. And that's not wrong per se. I'm not saying that you shouldn't move on. Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't learn in even the most menial of jobs. I mean, I'm sure you know someone who said that. You've maybe said it yourself. I've heard my friends say it. Uh, and It's just something we are hearing more of. But there is something you need to know that difference between a student and a learner is critical in how you deal with those types of positions where you just feel it's mind numbing, or it's just dumb, or or you don't need this job because it's just beneath you. But I do think in that there is a mindset that is very, it's off, it's wrong, and it shouldn't be there because no matter how mind-numbing a job is, you can still learn there. So let me define the difference between a student and a learner. A student is a person that goes to school, sits before a teacher, and they provide you information and you are drinking it in. That's what a student is typically someone who is passive and is taking in the knowledge and instead of actually proactively seeking it. Now, there is the overlap. You can still be a learner and a student, but I do find that a lot of people, maybe students, are not learners. So let me define what a learner is. A learner is someone who is seeking knowledge and proactively uh, um, uh, finding it and digging it out. They're researching, they're reading, they're doing it on their own, and that is critical. They don't need a teacher necessarily. They can seek it out on their own terms, independent of a professor or teacher or even a mentor. So that is a stark and critical difference. And so the question is which one are you? Especially when you're thinking about your job, that menial job, or the job that you want to get out of, or you're just frustrated with. Are you being a student or a learner? So if you're a student, you're looking for your boss to teach you something, to guide you, to show you the way, and to provide these nuggets of information. And the fact is that that just doesn't happen very often. Most managers, most managers and leaders of companies are just terrible teachers. I don't think I've ever had one that was a teacher. I definitely asked a lot of questions. I would pepper them and try to dig information out of them, but they never really offered to teach me or give me information. That is going to be a critical difference you should be aware of. If you're a student, your posture, your way of thinking is going to be, no, feed me. It'll be actually spoon feed me. And you have that expectation, which is very critical. If you have this expectation of someone to teach you in a job, no matter where you go, you're never going to get what you're really looking for because you're being a student. Nothing wrong with being a student per se, but that posture will not serve you well. Now, if you're a learner, there's a big difference. You're able to actually get information out of your manager. You're going to grab lunch with them or buy them coffee, and you're going to ask them questions about are you doing something better or are you doing something worse? Can you give me feedback? You're going to be looking at your job and you're going to be saying, okay, what can be better? You're going to be talking to your colleagues and asking them questions and trying to understand what's the system here? Why are we doing things the way we're doing? Is it the right way to do it? And then trying to ask the right questions in the right ways. You're basically, so now you're proactively engaging the people and the job and the people around you. Some colleagues, maybe they're loosely associated with you or not, but you're asking the questions, you're digging, you're proactively going after the knowledge. So in that, so I'll give you just my own experience, a story from my own experience. I used to work at Citigroup when it was the largest bank in the world before the Great Recession. And I was one of my second position. I started off as a temp. My first position was just data entry. I was doing all kinds of little stuff, and then I went to even a full-time job of full-time data entry, and it was a very entry-level menial job. It got me through. It was fantastic for that. I'm very grateful, and that doesn't mean it wasn't difficult and frustrating. But during that time, I will say that I learned some of the most valuable lessons that I learned as an entrepreneur. And I was able to um, crystallize some of the ideas that I had and was able to push things forward in my mind about process, about how to push a business through, how to help an organization grow and or be sustained, how to do paperwork and what that means actually to move back offices and back office people forward and helping them help me in a goal that I'm trying to achieve, manage basic people and their expectations. It is a very challenging thing to do. So if I didn't have that data entry job, I don't think I would be the entrepreneur I am today, to tell you the truth. Because there's a lot of paperwork in entrepreneurship. When you're doing a business, when you're doing contracts, when you're doing all the things, when you're being your own boss, you basically you're also doing data entry. That's a fact. So if I didn't have that job before, I wouldn't be able to do my job now as an entrepreneur, which is crazy to think about, but it's true. So because I was able to become a learner, I was able to actually uh, do what I do now. So, are you a learner or are you a student? You can choose. This is not a DNA thing. I was just forced to learn. So you too can learn. It doesn't matter where you are, what your background, even if you graduated from college or not, you can become a learner. I mean, that's why these Carnegie, Vanderbilt, Steve Jobs, you name all these entrepreneurs, they all were learners. They pushed themselves further and farther than what they even thought they could because they were constantly learning. Walmart, Sam Walton, he was a learner. There were these stories about him when he would visit other retailers, he would be peppering all of them, all these people that with questions, asking them how they're doing things, what were their mistakes, why were they doing certain things. He was constantly trying to learn and gain nuggets of information. So um, I will say, what are you doing to become a learner where you are right now? You should think about that. I'll always remind myself as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to leave your position right now. Maybe there's some things that is just you need to change something inside of yourself, your own mindset, your own posture of how you're engaging with people, how you're seeing your job. Because if you can't see your job as a place to actually learn, then it's probably you. I'm not saying you can't move on for your job. You definitely should. I moved on from the data entry job. I didn't stay there forever. I wasn't going to be a lifer, but I did learn. I learned from the people around me. They taught me things, not because they wanted to teach me things, but because I engaged them and I proactively sought after their information and who they were and what they knew. Um, so, are you able to change your mindset? Are you able to see these people differently, that you can learn something from them? Sometimes it's our own pride that keeps us back, that we think that we have nothing to learn because we're better than these other people. Honestly, I was not better than those people who were staying in those data entry jobs for 20 years. They had the reasons, I'm sure family or whatever it is. I'm not better than them. I had a lot to gain from them, and I'm eternally grateful for what they gave me. And so pride could be something that hinders us. It could be the very fact that we just don't realize that I'm just a student, or maybe you're just thinking that I can't learn unless somebody teaches me. That mindset hopefully is blown right now. There are, I'm sure, a plethora, a bunch of different reasons. Another way, so what are ways you can learn? I would suggest reading. Reading books, seeking after knowledge from this. So you independently are going after knowledge, asking questions to people, no matter what stratosphere they're in, the CEO to janitor. You can learn something even from the janitor. I guarantee you that. So having that kind of worldview of longing to gain information from any human being, no matter what level. And so asking questions, and then also listening to podcasts. I mean, there's so many things to gain information, but these podcasts, Tim Ferriss, the investors podcast. I mean, there's so many of these podcasts out there that provide incredible information. These guys are just giving away their information for free, and it's incredible. You can do it through asking, talking to your friends, looking for a coach, looking for a mentor. You have to be. You can talk to your peers. You can talk to me, whomever, like that have information that you can learn from, and you have to seek it out. Ask them, go after them, text them for a meeting, for a phone call, and learn. So I've been blabbing on now and ranting. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Love to hear back from you. Love to hear about how you're learning. What are other ways that I can learn from you? Tell me. I would love to learn from you. Feel free to comment. Come to my blog. I'll link that below, and also all my socials. The way you can reach me for social media. Love to hear from you. So, hoping for you to learn and not just be a student. And have a great day. Talk to you later.